Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to Cinefessions, where we talk all things media. We are on now day 6 of being locked inside the asylum, and this time around we are going back to found footage. I know I really should have looked at the order of these movies a little closer, but it was just kind of random and I just did what I did. So I'm sorry that 3 out of the 6 days now are found footage films, but it's all right. It doesn't really matter that much. This one, the Amityville Horror, is from 2011 and it's directed by Jeff Mead, which, interesting fact, or fun fact, I guess, at least to me, Jeff Mead is actually was the bad guy and the writer of yesterday's movie, I Am Omega. So this is one of his later ones, because I think I Am Omega was 2007, this is 2011, so, a few years down the road, he did this. And let's talk about it, I guess. Is this a better found footage film than the ones I've seen previously, or is this a step down? Well, let's find out. If you guys have been enjoying these 13 days, please give this a like down below. That really helps me out. But with that said, let's not waste any more time at all. Let's dive right into day 6, where I'll talk about the Amityville Haunting from 2011. This is one that I do not own physically, as you guys can tell, but it was available on Peacock. And so kind of over these 13 days, I've just been finding random places where these movies are showing up. Tubi, Peacock, Amazon Prime Video has had one. So it's just random places. Hoopla has a bunch. That's where I'll be watching more as the month progresses here. So you guys can find these super easily. So hopefully you're following along with me throughout these 6 days so far, but we'll see what happens as the days go on and where I find some more things. Obviously I do have some physical ones that I own as the days progress here, but anyway, that's a tangent that I didn't need. But like I said, 2011, directed by Jeff Mead. And oh boy, this one was rough. You guys know I love found footage films. I've talked about 2 of them already, and I've enjoyed both of them to one extent or another, but this one unfortunately is just the laziest and the poorest written, the poorest acted. It is just bottom of the barrel in terms of the movies I've seen so far from the Asylum. So we are following, honestly, this is just the story of the Amityville Horror, but it's done in a found footage style. So we are following this family that has apparently they've moved 6 times in 18 months or something, 5 times in 18 months, some absurd number that is just completely unrealistic. But that's the excuse that they have for not leaving this house, is because they've moved so many times prior. And the reason they moved is because their daughter, I guess, is some kind of hellion. I have no idea what she's done or anything really about her, other than she's just a terrible human being, I guess. And so they need to move all these times, but they don't elaborate on that in the least. But anyway, I'm jumping ahead as I usually do. I'm getting excited. We are following this family of 5. You have the mom, the dad, and then the oldest daughter, who is the hellion, apparently. The middle son, who is our main filmographer of this, our cameraman. And then our youngest daughter, who is probably 7 or 8-ish, maybe somewhere around there. And so this family moves into the old DeFeo house in Amityville, because that's what always happens in these. And then, of course, it's a haunted house, so things kind of pick up from there. But it is legitimately just the story of Amityville Horror, but it's done in the found footage style. Obviously, there are some differences. It's much lesser than Amityville Horror, either the remake or the original. But yeah, so the first thing that bothered me about this is that this house looks literally nothing like the Amityville house. That's kind of the first step, the easiest thing to get right. At least make it look a little bit like it, but it looks nothing like it. It's in this clearly a California, suburb area that just is not Amityville, New Jersey, right? Is that where it is? I think so. And so it's just completely off there. So that part right from the beginning was super annoying. The inside of the house looks nothing like it. It's like a smaller house, a more compact house than the Amityville house, which is pretty large, at least in the movies that I've seen of it and the book I read, because I did read Jay Anson's Amityville Horror. I've seen the original and I've seen the remake. So my knowledge of Amityville, though it probably hasn't stuck very well, I have consumed that media in the past. And so those things bothered me a little bit. But outside of that, even just moving past that, the biggest issue with this was just the characters. I could not stand these characters. Not only were they not terribly well acted, which in a found footage film, acting is probably the most important aspect of the movie, because you're supposed to be watching real footage, and if it feels like they're acting, it feels fake, then you're completely taken out of it. And with this movie, the entire time, I just kept getting taken out of it because the acting was so non-realistic and non-naturalistic. And so that was really disappointing as the story went on. Speaking of the characters, I have to make a special mention of the father character here. He is ex-military, and he is just like the single most awkward human being on the planet. He is so strange. Right from the beginning, it feels like he is possessed, but he's not. It's just the way he acts. And I don't know, the way he handles his family is so weird. He is so like disconnected emotionally from everything, which is probably, supposed to be, it's a character choice based on his background, but oh man, it was just so awkward to watch. His interactions with his daughters were just weird. With his son was weird. His wife was probably the weirdest of the bunch. Like, it was just a weird family dynamic. They had virtually no chemistry throughout this entire family, which was really like, again, you go back to that acting even, like it has to be there if you're watching a found footage film, and it wasn't at all. I just didn't believe what I was watching for 99% of this. The other major disappointment with this one was just how lazy it felt. Like, it's supposed to be a supernatural haunting film, and basically all the supernatural we get are these like fades to black where you still hear sound, and then just weird sound, like sound effects that they play. And every once in a while you get like an in-camera like ghost effect, obviously post, but a ghost effect that's added in. But even with that, as the film progresses, it gets even lazier, because instead of doing these like post-effect work, you just get actors standing there, which are clearly not ghostly in any stretch of the imagination. It's just supposed to be you only, the characters in the world can't see them. We only see them because we're watching it through a camera. But boy, it didn't work, because there just needed to be something done to them in post to make them feel ghostly or feel like a spirit of some sort or a demon of some sort, whatever it was. But it was just they were just filming actors, and so it just felt so lazy, and that laziness felt throughout the entire film. It just permeated this film. There's one point where like they had set up a camera in the I don't know what it is, like family room or whatever, because the back door of the family room keeps opening at night and they think there's an intruder. Well, at one point a friend of the family comes by and changes the camera, yet it's the exact same camera. They don't even like move where it's facing at all. They don't change the style of the camera, nothing. It's literally the same camera. And it's like, you just made a point of him saying in dialogue a second earlier that I've changed out this camera, I've made it smaller and narrower focus, but it's literally the exact same camera. It's like, that's just lazy. And that laziness is just that like there throughout the entire movie. And it just took things down even further than I would have hoped. It sounds like I'm ranting now, and I hate that, because I know that every person involved with this movie did not set out to make a poor film. They tried to do the best they can. So I hate just sitting here and dumping on a film, but I'm going to do it for a couple more seconds because I just have to. So there are these, like our cameraman, he was so annoying, the middle son here, and he would recap the day's events at the end of every day. And it went like day by day. It didn't jump ahead at all. It was just day 1, day 2, day 3 as the thing progressed. And then at the end of each day, he's staring right at the camera and recapping what just happened. And it's like, well, we know that. We literally just saw that seconds earlier. Why are you sitting here telling us what we just saw? You're not even adding any commentary to it, really. You're just saying, oh, this happened. Today was a weird day. This, A, B, and C happened. Yeah, we just saw that. Like, it was just so utterly pointless. I just didn't understand why they had that in there. And then another part that just really was just grating to me was they've made this big point of setting up these security cameras and, watching the door open and close. The daughter clearly knows there's security cameras there, yet she has her boyfriend or whatever, this guy come over using the exact door where the one security camera is located. It's like, how ridiculous. This is just not things real human beings would do. I don't care if she is just a dumb teenager. Like, she wouldn't do that. But really the reason they do that is because they need to like jumpstart the film into the second half. And that's how they do it, which is just, again, I'm going to go back to that word, lazy. It just felt lazy and so grating. It was just like so many things were just like, why are they doing this? This makes no sense. This is not realistic, which we're watching a supernatural film. How realistic does it need to be? But even in that world that they were creating, it didn't feel realistic. And that's a problem. Of course, I'm not going to give any spoilers here, but I will say that the ending is foreshadowed a little bit earlier in the film, pretty obviously, frankly. And so the ending wasn't surprising at all, but I thought it still worked pretty well. I didn't have an issue with it. But what I did have an issue is with virtually everything else. Like for a 89, 88 minute movie, this was shockingly slow, which I never would thought I would say for such a short film. But I found myself bored at points. It was like unintentionally hilarious at other points. Like there's a part where the dad has like a mental break when he thinks he's back in the army, and it is just laugh out loud ridiculous, and not unintentionally so. It's supposed to be this like scarier-ish or tense moment. It's hilarious. So yeah, it's slow moving. It is unintentionally funny at points. It is poorly edited. It is the worst acted, and it is the worst script of the movies I've watched so far for these 13 days. And this one is just, it's not a good movie, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. So this one I would recommend, don't even waste your time with. So I ended up giving the Amityville Horror from let me try that again. I gave the Amityville Haunting from 2011 1 out of 5 stars. Not every day is going to be a winner, and unfortunately, day 6 turned out to be a major bust. And like I said, I hate sitting in front of a camera and just dumping on a film, because at no point did the filmmakers or the actors or the crew set out to make a bad movie, and I completely respect that and I understand that. But at the same time, I don't want to mislead you to think that there's something that is worth watching in a film like this, because there isn't. And so I have to be honest and just tell you guys what I think, and hopefully I don't come off as just a jerk, because I hate that. And I know that there are hardworking people that try to do their best. Unfortunately, this one just didn't work for me. Maybe it worked for you. If you've seen this and you've liked it, let me know down in the comments below. I love hearing your guys' thoughts on any and all of these, so please leave those comments down below. I really appreciate it. As always, though, if you guys did enjoy this one, please give it a like down below. That really does help me out. And like I always say, I don't just talk movies. I am over these 13 days, but normally I talk all things media, be it books, movies, video games, graphic novels, manga. If it's media related, I'm interested in it. And if you are too, you might consider subscribing. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for day 6. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. And I want to encourage you to consume some media today. I'll catch you next time.